Welcome to The Real Life Buyer. Whether you are buying for yourself or your business, here you will find tips, techniques and knowledge to support your journey to buying smart. Interviewing business owners and technical experts to give you information and guidance before parting with your money. Save money, time and get what you want when you want it. Now introducing The Real Life Buyer, Dave Barr.
Hello and welcome to The Real Life Buyer. How good are you at making things happen? Are you delivering on your goals and achieving the success you desire? If you struggle to get what you want and are looking to grow and improve your life and business, I think you're in for a treat tonight. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Steve Sims, born in London and now living in Los Angeles. An entrepreneur, an author, a podcaster, a speaker, a coach, a biker, which I am as well, so that's great, family man and a straight-talking guy. Steve's business offers personal concierge services to VIPs, including celebrities, millionaires, billionaires even, and other premium clients. And these experiences will no doubt be incredible and will form once-in-a-lifetime memories. But now it's time to chat, and I'm very pleased to say hello, Steve, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, absolute pleasure. I care very much about helping people to buy smart and save money and grow in their personal and business lives by learning from and listening to people who love their products, their services, and are experts in their field. So having followed you and read your book, copy here to demonstrate, I'd really appreciate it if you could talk about your people and commercial skills and techniques, and then your thoughts for helping entrepreneurs develop. So with this in mind, Steve, I feel you have a gift for teasing out what clients truly want, rather than perhaps what they might ask for. So what insights can you share on how you sense when people are holding back, disguising what they want, and then how do you draw out their real desires?
Wow, there's quite a lot of questions there. So let's unpack them in reverse by hitting the last one first. How do I uncover? People are getting really bad at communication. Okay, both of us, we're not spring chickens. We were both alive before Facebook and Instagram showed us how inadequate our life was. And we used to have a conversation. If we said the wrong thing to the wrong person, we knew it because we got a smack in the nose, or they gave you a bad look, or you got a bad vibe. You can say something now in an email, a text, a tweet, a posting, and you have no idea how it's been received. Now, also what you've got to understand is that your message can be received only in the mood the recipient is reading it. So I'll give you a perfect example. If I send you a text and I go, beer tomorrow night, 8:00, you may have a really good day at work and you may go, Sims wants to have a beer with me tomorrow, 8:00. Yeah, that's great. And you'll come back with, yeah, where? You may have had a really, really bad day where your boss has been treating you like shit all day and you're in a bad mood and you look at that text and you go, well, that's demanding. And you may just turn around and go, 8:30, just as a power play, just to flex that you're not going to bounce when I tell you to bounce. So the point is, we don't know now how most people are receiving our messages. 1980s, 1990s, you knew because you stood in front of someone. You go, hey, beer tomorrow night, 8:00. You can see my eyeballs. You can see. We don't have that pleasure now. We're also in a world where conversations are getting tougher. We've seen this year politics. We've seen Black Lives Matter. We've seen the Me Too movement. We've seen so many times where people go, oh, God, did I say something back in 1963 that was inappropriate? Is there a picture of me somewhere where I did something where I never really thought about? We're scared. We're actually terrified now to communicate. So instead of getting better at it, we're doing less. Okay. So when you have a conversation with someone, we are actually very terrified, and we're like, oh, yeah, I'd like to do that. What you've got to do is you've got to ask the rudest question in the planet, the most confrontational word in the entire world. Why? When someone says something to you, hey, I want to buy this house. Hey, I'd like to buy this washing machine. Oh, great. Why that one? Why that house? Why that product? Why that service? Why that dream? Why that fantasy? You've got to ask them why. People will text me that don't know me, and they'll be like, hey, I'm in LA next Tuesday. I'd love to get together with a beer with you, or I'd love to get together and chat with you. I'd love to take you out for dinner. Great. Why? That is the length of my response. Why? And I will get only two kind of responses. I'll get the, well, you're a prick. You know, I thought you were a cool guy. You know, I just wanted to hang out with you. But if you're going to be such an arrogant, and they go off on it, because why is a very confrontational word. Okay? It's because I want to know. You know, I'm not willing to accept what you said. I want to know what's the why behind it. And then I'll get other people that go, hey, that's a great question. I've got this product, or I've got this service, or I can help you with this. They're giving me a reason. They're giving me knowledge. From that knowledge, I can go, well, actually, that's not in my wheelhouse. So can't help you there. Or, hey, that sounds really exciting. I'm really looking forward to our get together. Okay. I've got the why. So a lot of people don't do it. And I will actually give it to you a little bit further in a story. I was working with Elton John's Oscar party for like about 8 years. And I had a guy phone up to my office when we were in Florida, and they wanted to meet Sir Elton John. Now, it came through, I wasn't at the office, and it came through, and one of my team got it, and they called me up on my cell phone. They said, look, we got a guy on the phone, and he wants to meet Sir Elton John, and we know that he knows about the party that you're working with, you know, in like a couple of months' time, but he wants to meet him. There's something strange. Can you jump on the phone and, you know, see what it's all about? And I went, absolutely. So they patched it through to me, and I went, hey, how you doing? And it was a New Yorker, very short, sharp, brash New Yorker. And the reason for explaining that is it'll become apparent in a minute. Guys on the phone go, yeah, I want to meet Sir Elton John. It's great. Why? Ah, well, you know, he's a living legend. You know, you've just got to say the word Elton and people know who he is. And, you know, he's going to die soon and I want to get a photograph of him. Okay. Anything else? No, that's it. How much? Great. Fantastic. What I'll do is let me make a couple of phone calls and I'll get back to you. Great. I didn't take the guy's name down. I didn't take his email down. I didn't take his phone number because it was all superficial. He wanted to get a photograph that he could stick on his desk to show off to other people. How many times you walk into an office and there's a picture of you and like the mayor or the president or someone? That's all for you. That's all to impress you, you know? So I didn't want to do it. It was too superficial. So then about a month later, again, I'm at home and I get a phone call from one of the team at the office and they went, Steve, we got this New Yorker phoning up about meeting up with Sir Elton John at the Oscar party. We think it may be this other guy's mate because you didn't get back to it. I went, all right, put him through to me. So this guy comes through, exact same kind of tonality. Brash New Yorker. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I want to get a photograph with Sir Elton John. I want to meet Sir Elton John. Oh, that's fantastic. Why? Oh, well, you know, he's an icon. He's a living legend. He's one of the last living legends out there. Everyone knows him by heart. And basically went through the exact same stuff until the end. And then he's like, well, there's, you know, there's things. And his tone changed when he said there's things. And when you start asking why, people's tone change and they reveal or they get defensive. There's only two ways they go. And he said there's things. And I went, what things? And I lowered the tone of my voice. And he told me this story. This happened 100%. He said to me, when I was a kid, my dad used to take me to school. He used to pick me up from school every single day. From the first day I went to school, I can only ever remember my dad doing it. My mum would never do it. She'd wave us off and she'd be there to wave us back. And he had this car that had a cassette deck in it. And there was a cassette jammed in the car. And it would play Sir Elton John's greatest hits. And on the way to school, we would sing our lungs out to Elton John. And then he'd pick me up and we'd hit play and we'd sing our lungs out on the way back. And then he got a new car, and this car had a CD player in it. So he got greatest hits of Elton John, and we used to do the same. We would sing Elton John on the way to school, and we'd sing Elton John. And then it went into my high school where I hated this. And I would quickly jump out of the car and slam the door so no one could hear Elton John. And even as I'm walking towards the car, before I got my car, as I'm walking, I can hear Elton John, and I would get in that car super fast and try to turn it down, and he wouldn't let me turn it down. And I would be looking out the window, and I would hate the journey home. And I'd get home, and I'd be like, Mum, can you stop him playing Elton John? But he never stopped. And then I got my own car, and I used to drive myself to high school and myself home. And I didn't have to put up with him singing Elton John. Now, my dad died about 20 plus years ago. And I'll be traveling to work. I'll be on a meeting. I'll have the kids in the car. I'll be driving my wife somewhere. I'll be on my way to the airport and the radio will come on. He said, and Elton John will come on the radio. And for the next 3 minutes of that song, my dad sat next to me singing his lungs out. For just random moments through the week, my dad comes back to me and he's singing. He said, I can hear him. I want to thank Sir Elton John for bringing my dad back to me for random 3 minutes each week. And that was the why. Fantastic. That was why. I'll be honest with you. I cried when I heard it on the phone. I told Sir Elton John about it. They met at the party. He leant in. He told the story. I couldn't even hear the story being told because the party was so loud. And I saw him start to well up. I saw him hug it out. And I saw him get the photograph. If you don't get to the why, then there's no point. If you don't understand why that person needs the washing machine, not just to clean the clothes, but because maybe they're in a rental property, well, then maybe you should get a cheaper one. Hey, it's my ideal home. Hey, you don't want to buy a washing machine again, buy this one. You know, if you don't get to the point, as something as simple as a washing machine now becomes a transaction. And transactions are really putting all the liability on you to get it right. How many times have you gone on Amazon and bought something and gone, oh shit, this isn't what I wanted? Yeah. We're in a transaction-based society, which is helping us avoid that thing I said earlier, which is communication. We don't want to talk to anybody. And now we've had COVID where for a year we haven't. How many people, truthfully, are scared about going into the pub the first day? You know, they haven't seen. We're out of whack. We don't know what it's like. We don't know what it's like to strike up a conversation. I live in California where we literally have to be 6 feet away from each other. We've got a face mask on. We're doing everything possible to make sure we're not having conversations. That the day that we are allowed to have a conversation, based on the fact that we're already shit at it, how bad are we going to get?
Fantastic. Thanks, Steve. That's really good. Really good. Like that. How do I follow that? Okay. I'm now thinking about, you've now established what your client wants. You've asked those whys, basically. So I'm thinking there might be another 4 stages. Now, hopefully I'm right, but you'll probably tell me I'm wrong. But I'm thinking now, you now know what they want. You now got to decide how to find the right person to make this happen. And then I guess you've got to find out what's going to matter to them to want to work with you. And then you've got to make that contact somehow. And, you know, as you just said, texts and emails might not be the best vehicle for that. And you've got to engage with them. Now, are those the right 4 things? And how do you go about getting to the point where you have engaged with the right person and you've got the message across and you've got their engagement?
So you can't get to the end without starting at the beginning. Stupid statement, but couldn't be more accurate. Until you know the core reason, you can't go and achieve it. Okay. The other beautiful thing is once you've got that core reason, you can then, with that core, go for what they really need. If I had got Elton John to just walk in and take a picture with my client and walk away, the client would have got the picture, but he would have never been able to share the story. So I needed to make sure that in the introduction, there was time, that there was going to be a conversation, there was going to be an explanation, there was going to therefore breed a connection. And that's what happened. Okay. Once you know the reason why, then you need to go, well, okay, how far can I take this? You know, I had a client of mine that he started life by literally being in the cover band for Journey. He did, you know, he used to sing at pubs and bars, singing Journey tunes. That's how he made his money. Now, through his life, whenever he was in good times, he would celebrate with Journey tunes. Whenever he was in bad times, he would commiserate and get himself picked up again with Journey tunes. Journey was the theme tune to his life movie. Now he's very, very successful. He asked me, he wanted to meet the rock band Journey. Now I knew the reason, I knew the core, but I also knew that this wasn't good enough. You know, he had spent like 40 years of his life. You know, his Journey to him was everything. It was his pulse. It was his heartbeat. But people today, they aim low. We don't go for what we want. We go for what we think is achievable. But if you've never driven a $400,000 race car, how do you know what that's achievable? You know, you don't know what it's like. So they go, well, I'm going to settle. And that's the worst thing in people's grammar. It's the worst thing in the world. Don't settle. Achieve. And then when you achieve something, that's your new benchmark. And then push it again. That's your new benchmark. They say that when you stretch an elastic band, it never goes back to its original position. You are that elastic band. So you need to push what you are capable of, but you also need to push into unknown territory what your client is looking for. And you need to go, you need to be the one that takes what they want and transform that into what they need, lust, and desire for. You need to do everything that we're doing in a transactional society and everything that we're not. And what Amazon is not doing, and what AI and Siri and Alexa is not doing, is creating, disrupting, and designing. They don't do any of those things. You want something? Here it is. You know, play this. There it is. You know, they give you no suggestions. They don't create, design anything. You have to be the one that does that. You can only do that from having the core, from having the absolute why. Once you've got that why and you've got your, oh, I'm going to do this, then you need to make the connection that's going to be able to achieve that. Now, the worst thing, now I deal with billionaires and millionaires, the worst, and celebrities, the worst or the easiest way to get that phone slammed is to phone someone up and go, hey, how much will it cost me for this to happen? Because you've now just made that person a transaction. Elton John doesn't want to be bought. Okay, he wants to be engaged. He wants to be excited. He wants to be passionate. When you get to a certain level, you don't want the money, and you certainly don't want to be a prostitute. Okay? A prostitute will happily answer that question. But any other event, location, museum, celebrity doesn't want to be a transaction. So what you need to do is you need to convey the why to the who. And you get hold of the who and go, hey, I have to tell you a story about a client that has this that you can be the finale for. This is what happened. Get them engaged into that story. Get them wanting to be part of that experience. You know you're going to have to pay. Hey, it's like buying a car and then being really confused that you're responsible for filling it up with fuel. You know you've got to fill it up with fuel. You know you've got to buy tires. You don't need to be a Formula One mechanic to know that. You know and expect it. So the payment is nothing more than the fuel. Don't lead with it. You know, you don't walk in and look at a car and go, hey, have I got to put fuel in that? You know, you just don't do that. So you've got to understand that you've got to get them on board with the experience. You can't do that by text. You can't do that by email. And it makes me laugh because we walk around with these things now permanently 3 feet away from us. And I try not to use this. I really do. But the downside is that the world is teaching me I have to use it because now my thermostat, my air conditioning, my alarm, my front doorbell is all connected to this bloody thing.
Yeah.
You know, the kids are out. I need to know where they are. I can't not have this next to me. But how many people don't use it as a phone?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, so when you want something and it's important and you've got that phone number, text them and go, hey, I'm going to be giving you a call in an hour's time. I hope that's okay. You know, pre-warn them and then phone them up and go, hey, I've got this. I've got this experience that needs to happen. I've got this that needs to happen. I've got a client that has a problem and you're the solution. This is what we need to do. How do we go about making it happen?
Cool. That's good. So let's assume there you've got the guy on the hook. You've clearly demonstrated, you've got him involved into the experience that's going to be needed. What's critical for your client, though, is that what he thinks he's conveyed to you, you've conveyed to this person, and they're going to make sure it's implemented in the way the client wants, and it runs like clockwork. So how do you make sure that this person understands fully what they need to deliver and they do deliver it the way your client wants it? How do you convey that specification and get it fixed?
Well, that's easy. You have a conversation. Okay. You have a conversation at the beginning to illuminate what's pushing this. What's the reason behind it? What's the why? And if you've got there, like my first guy that wanted the Elton John picture, if it's not there, no checkbook's going to make it there. Okay. But once it's there, hey, I've got a call. I know why he wants this. Now let's see how far I can take it because I've got the why. I know what the juice is. You've got to, so once you've had that conversation with your client and understood what his problem is and what his solution is, then you can go to the other people and say, hey, this is what happened and this is what I want to do to satisfy it. And you have to have the conversations. You can't have those conversations by messaging people or sending them a tweet. You have to have those conversations so that you've established the why, and the person that's going to provide the solution to the problem understands what this person's why is, what the problem he has, and why you went to them to be the person to solve it. None of those things can happen without a conversation. I am stunned. And here's the daft thing. How many times do you get a phone call and you're instantly pissed off that someone's phoned you because they've interrupted you? You know, most of us have our phones on vibrate now. But how many people have it not on vibrate and the phone rings and you go, oh, bloody hell. You know, you're annoyed, you know. Now, it could be your mum just checking in on you to say hi, but you've started off from being pissed off. That's why I send an email or send a text going, hey, I have to have a conversation with you. Can I call you at 30 minutes? Or if there's another time, let me know. But I've made it very clear I have to have a conversation with you. Okay, if they say, what's it about? I've got a client that you are the solution to that problem and we need to have a conversation. Again, I've realigned it that we need to have a conversation. Can you give me an overview? No, this is too big for an overview. We need to have a conversation.
Yeah, that's really good because obviously we're in a world of Teams software now. I assumed you use that, and certainly when you're in a work environment, you're exactly right. When somebody just calls me on Teams in the middle of me doing something, it drives me nuts.
Yep.
But if they just send me a little message saying, hey, Dave, you okay to talk in a couple of minutes? Fantastic. You can, okay, put something to the side and that's fine. And you're ready for the call. So I totally empathize with what you've just said. Brilliant.
It's just a simple thing. It's such a simple thing, but nobody does it. And you don't want to start the beginning of the conversation with irritation, you know, because you pick up the phone, you go, hello. And then it's your mum going, hey, honey, how are you? And then you've got to change your entire tone and go, oh, hey, mum, how are you? And you've got to get into a good flow state with that conversation. So, but you see, your mum's not used to having to text you to pre-arm you. You're going to get a call. So you've got to understand that our habits are being manipulated. You know, that like you talk about teams. Have you come across Voxer? You know,
no.
So Voxer is where someone can actually send you a message, and it's like the old Nextel. Your phone will literally go ding, ding, you know, and alert you that there's a message, and you're like, oh bloody hell, that noise. You know, again, if you got it on vibrate, you don't have that. But there's so many ways and so many apps of us being able to interrupt each other.
Yeah.
And an interruption is an aggravation. So line it up, send a pretext, send a little message, send a Calendly link saying, hey, I'd really love to have a conversation with you on Monday. Here's a little link. Let me know when we can actually have a chat, you know? But the worst we are getting at communication dictates that we have to get better at it. Now, here's the daft thing. I used to do this with my clients, and I still do. I would pick a morning, I would upload all my emails by 10:30, and then I'd turn the Wi-Fi off. And I would phone every single one of those clients that emailed me that morning. And I'd go, hey, Dave, how you doing? I got your email, but I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to go through with it and make sure I've got the real need behind the ask. So can you explain to me a little bit more about why you sent me the email? And I have a conversation. Never, ever had a client that hadn't been excited to talk over what they wanted. Okay. Also, another funny thing, never, ever, ever left that phone call with what they asked for in their email being the only thing that we were now looking at. Because during the conversation and the evaluation and the why and the communication, the need is more established. The budget is increased. The parameters are now widened. During a conversation, you never go back to the original email. It always becomes a bigger, wider project. Even when I coach clients, I'll have someone come on and they'll go, hey, I'm launching a book next week. I need you to coach me through how to launch it. Do you need me to coach you on launching the book? Or do you need me to look at infrastructure, branding, positioning, and something that's actually going to be monetizable in 6, 8, 12, 24 months and ongoing? Actually, yeah, that's what I need. Okay. So, you know, when you talk to someone, you identify what they really, really, really need.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people don't know what they want.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where it comes down to having a conversation. A lot of the times, not only is the problem in the communication we're having with other people, it's a problem in the communication we're having with ourselves. Because 9 times out of 10, you fail to ask yourself, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You fail to ask yourself why. I have done businesses and I've suddenly looked at it and I've gone, I sweat my nuts off on this business. I work 28 hours a day on this business and it's not generating. But as an entrepreneur, I don't want to let things go. I don't want something to fail. So I keep doing it. I keep pushing this dead elephant around the moon. Why am I doing this? And then you go, well, it's my pride. Well, hang on. My pride is doing something stupid, which is what I'm doing. You know, surely my pride would be better served to recognize this as a waste of time, to stop it, and therefore give the rest of my day to be able to focus on something that does help my family. you know? So a lot of the time, the conversation, the first person you got to have that conversation with is you.
Yeah, yeah. You touched on the client again. I just want to follow up now. So your client has had the wonderful experience that they're looking for. How do you go about following up afterwards? I guess you're going to say the phone call. And then what is the most important takeaway from that phone call that you're looking for?
So me and you have never done business together, okay? So if I asked you to give me a reference, who cares? You know, you've never spent any money with me, because if you said, oh, you've got to work with Steve Sims because of blah, 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 and the person turned around and went, well, Dave, did you do that? And you go, no, but I heard it was quite good. That's a very weak reference, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
But let's say, for argument's sake, me and you had done business, 10 grand, just picking on a number.
Yeah.
And I had coached you, or I had spoken at one of your events, or, whatever, that I had done something to benefit you. Now, if you're introducing me to someone, it's from a position of strength. Hey, Dave, did you do this? Are you kidding? I spent 10 grand to get it, and I got everything I needed. And look where I am now. Now the other person is like, oh, I want to have that conversation with Steve. So anyone that you do business with, you need to contact them and say, hey, and listen, pause this, write it down. But this is what I do with my coaching clients, my speaking gigs, and is what I used to do within my concierge service. You contact them and you go, hey, thank you very much for allowing me to work with you for the last 8 months. It was an absolute pleasure and an honor, and very, very proud time to see you from where you were to where you are now. But I have a question, and the question benefits me because I want to be the best, insert speaker, coach, whatever, that I can possibly be. So I need to ask you the following question. What did I do wrong? Push send.
Brilliant.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question, Dave.
Sure.
You come over to my house for dinner on Tuesday, and I phone you up on Wednesday and I say, hey, Dave, did you enjoy the food last night? What do you say?
It's fantastic, Steve. Loved every bit of it.
Knee-jerk reaction.
Yep.
Okay. It took nanoseconds for you to even say that. Okay. But if I said to you, hey, Dave, thanks for coming over for dinner last night. What didn't you like about the night?
Yeah, yeah.
Straight away, it opens up a different part of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can't lose with that question. Okay. Also, you can't be suspicious. Let me play another game with you. You've seen me doing AMAs with experts. Do you like them?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, especially the one with Naveen the other day. I really enjoyed that, the billionaire chappie. Yeah, brilliant. Naveen Jain. Yeah, that was excellent. I've listened to that 4 times and told my friends about that today, bizarrely.
So being part of my community and part of my circle, has that helped you?
Absolutely. It's given me a completely new way of thinking about things, that's for sure.
And reading the book, did that create impact for you?
Yeah, I've actually read that twice now, and I'm looking at it again. There's little tidbits you find each time you go through that really make you think differently. So yes, absolutely.
So discovering my world and being part of it, that's helping you?
For sure, yep. I would definitely
Are you now starting to get a little bit aggravated with me looking for egotistical responses to my questions?
Not yet.
You're on the tipping point. If I carried on for another 2 or 3,
yeah,
you would start thinking, where the bloody hell is this going? You would, because we get suspicious.
Yeah,
because I'm funneling you down. Oh my God, are you pleased? Are you proud? Are you happy?
Yeah.
You're eventually going to go, for Christ's sake, where is this going? This guy's got a low self-esteem. He wants nothing more than me to blow smoke up his backside. Because as people, we don't want to constantly give too much affirmation. We get suspicious.
Yeah.
But if I say to you, that video I did with Naveen Jack, what did I do wrong with that interview? Okay.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, a different part of your brain kicks in, and it doesn't operate on the suspicious side, because I'm asking you to give me a negative.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, no, it was, it could have been, you did it for like 40 minutes, Steve. I'd have preferred it for an hour, but Navin was busy and he's a billionaire. So, 40 minutes is something. And I'll be like, great. So, you would have liked more time, but, again, let's respect the fact we had a billionaire live on a Facebook Live where we gave him some pretty cheeky questions for him to ask. We had a good bit of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
How many people do you think should know about that video? You see, the point is, what I've done is I've asked you for a negative, which you couldn't give me. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, you turned around and you went, well, I've got to be honest with you, Steve. The way you ask questions, I don't like. I really like the guest, but I find you a bit too rude when you're asking those kind of questions. I could turn around and go, Dave, all right, man, I respect the benefit you got from it, but thank you for giving me that feedback. I'm going to change that by quite simply getting someone else to ask the questions. So you still get, I can't lose. I'm helping you. You're not going to watch the next video because I've just done something to correct the thing you didn't like.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you turned around again, actually, Steve, there was nothing wrong with that. That was absolutely, I'd have preferred 5 hours, but hey, I got 40 minutes with a billionaire.
Yeah.
So, it was still great. And I could go, fantastic. Could you do me a favor and tell 20 of your closest friends that they need to be watching that video? Now I'm coming from a position of strength. So I have, I think, 6 companies. Not one of those companies has an email or a phone number available to you. Not one. Okay. So how do I get clients? Every time I do business with someone, I ask you, what did I do wrong? And when you can't tell me anything I did wrong, I then say to you, fantastic. Do you know 5 people that should maybe know that?
Yeah.
And then I've got 5 references. So I don't care if you're selling washing machines. I don't care if you're servicing cars. I don't care if you're selling private jets to billionaires. Don't ask them to blow smoke up your ass. Ask them, what did I do wrong in working with you? Nothing. It was fantastic. It was flawless. Brilliant. Do you have 5 friends that should possibly need to know that? Now you're coming from a position of strength.
No, that's gold. Thank you for that. That's brilliant. A few questions.
And thank you for all the nice things you said about
No, that's right. I would tell you straight, even over a beer.
There you go.
Just want to ask a few questions. I'm very conscious your time's running a bit short, but I want to talk about your term "wannapreneurs" and hopefully some good advice for people who listen to my podcast in that respect. You hear quite a lot of the gurus, and we talk about those, and you talk about those on your AMAs, about how you need to organize yourself and have routines and habits if you want to achieve and exceed your potential and level up. What's a typical Steve Sims day, and do you subscribe to the same advice?
I do, but I got it from a better source. In working with billionaires, I wanted to ask them quite simply, why are you richer and I'm not? Why are you successful and I'm not? That was the whole purpose of what I did. And I noticed one thing. Well, I noticed 3 things, as we already went in the other day on the video. And if anyone wants to watch the video, go and find it. But I noticed that the one thing that really caught me was they valued time differently to me. So I time management as much as I can. I will literally have 20 minutes set aside to have a cappuccino in the morning, an hour to have breakfast with my family, 30 minutes for this. Yesterday, I had it booked out of my diary for me and my wife to go and have breakfast. Okay? Because if it's not booked, what ends up happening? You book a podcast. You book a phone call with your attorney. You book a phone call with your accountant. You go and see the dentist. You book all of these things that maybe aren't all enjoyable. Now, I like doing podcasts, but I did, there was one day, I think I did like 7 or 8 in one day.
Cool.
By the end of the day, I was done. I was like, I never want to do another pod. And my wife said to me, no, stop it. So now I do 2 a day max. Okay. Yeah. You're my last one for the day. Okay. So I make sure that everything is now done. I am a great believer in time management. If you easily book appointments for all the stuff that you have to do and maybe you don't want to do, start filling that calendar up with all the stuff you do want to do. Okay? Because you don't live to work, you work to live. So one of my big things is my day's my day. If I want to go for a bike ride this afternoon, I'm going to book it in. Don't bother me, because from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock, I'm riding down Pacific Coast Highway on the Harley or something. Yeah. Monday, you cannot contact me Monday because I got a track day on the Ducati. You know, do I feel guilty about it? Absolutely not, because I work every single day of my life to be able to do more of the things I want to do, not the opposite way around. So I very, very heavily focus on time management. Okay. That's what affluent people do. That's what successful people do. That's what I do. There's a lot of gurus out there, you know, the fake gurus, that regurgitate all the shit that they read in someone else's book. I've been told that there are people out there that have taken stuff from my book and they're regurgitating it as their own stuff. Okay? Fine, knock yourself out. But always look at the source of the information and ask yourself, are they credible? Or did they read it in a book? The amount of authors out there that write books on books they've read makes me laugh. So I am a great believer today that if you're out there talking about credibility, affluent clients, marketing, branding, influence, do you have any of those? And that's the first question I always ask myself. So before you subscribe to that guru, before you start buying that $12.99 12-step course, ask yourself, do they have the substance? Do they have the credibility? Do they have the proof that they've done what they're now going to tell me about?
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, then another one for you before we run out of time. Fear of failure, embarrassment, negative self-talk. Now, there's some real obstacles that we all get challenged by. You know, I do, definitely. We all fall into the procrastination. How do you recommend we overcome those kind of things? How do we embrace the challenges that drive those fears?
So fear is a paralysis. Okay. Fear causes you to stand still. Okay. Nothing can live when it's stood still. Okay. For me, fear, and actually someone gave me a beautiful line that I'll repeat as a good example. The definition of hell is to meet the man or woman you could have been. Mm-hmm. Now, that means that every time I'm given an opportunity now, fear to me is not taking it. Fear to me is to meet the person in 10 years' time that took that chance and has now benefited from it. You know? So I use fear to perpetuate and push me forward to do things to become a better person. And when I fail, I become educated. You see, no one gets educated from success. If you did a Facebook advertising campaign, if you did an advert in your newspaper, if you did a promotion for your company and you made money from it, you haven't become educated. You just did well. Hey, congratulations. You know, why was that advert so good? Do you know? I don't know. I did it and it made a lot of money. Okay. You may have been very, very lucky. A broken clock is right twice a day. So if you did that advert and it failed, why did it fail? I used the wrong picture. You know, oh, it did this. Oh, my terminology. Oh, my payment plan was off. Tweak it. Now it does well. Now when someone says, yeah, how come that advert did well? It did well because I corrected these things. I got educated from what didn't work. The difference between successful people and non-successful people, those entrepreneurs, is a successful person, when they fail, they lean in and they go, where did that go wrong? Elon Musk has just had his rockets crash.
Yeah.
That guy is not at home getting pissed up going, oh my God, I've just lost $100 million. He's leaning in going, hang on, where did that go wrong? How did that happen? How can we make sure that doesn't happen again? He's leaning into the problem. He's allowing failure to refine him, not define him. A entrepreneur is the person that does something, it goes wrong, and they lean back and they go, oh my God, I've lost $5,000. My life's over. My wife's going to kill me. I'm never going to touch that again. Oh my God, throw a pity party. That's a entrepreneur. So utilize failure for what it is, an education. This is your education on how you can make it better. You will fail many, 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 many times before you don't. How many times did you see Elon Musk's rocket when those reusable fuel cells were landing on that floating platform? Did you ever see them land and then they would explode? Did you ever see those videos?
Yeah.
How many times did you see that? Quite a few times?
Yeah, it's quite spectacular.
Quite spectacular when a fuel cell suddenly explodes. When was the last time you saw it?
I couldn't tell you.
No, you can't. And I'll tell you why. Because they don't explode anymore. They land. They work. He now knows what went wrong in order to make it right. It doesn't matter how many times it goes wrong, because the second it goes right, it works. You don't see any of those rockets land on that floating pad anymore for one simple reason. They land properly. They work. It's not exciting anymore. Doink. Great. We like it when it suddenly goes into a big ball of flames, like it's some kind of movie and Holocaust situation. But no, when it gets right, we've lost interest, because sadly, as humans, we like to see things go wrong. We like to jeer, we like to stab, we like to laugh. There's programs, TV shows that are full of people walking into the walls when they're on their phone and they're not paying attention, falling over, crashing, losing things. We love to laugh at people. We therefore also don't take chances in our life, not only because fear of failure, but greater fear of people laughing at us.
Yeah, for sure.
I had this supreme privilege of working with Elon Musk when he turned around and he said, people will laugh at you until they applaud.
Yeah. Okay, last few seconds. Interesting question, perhaps, or not, as maybe. Your speakeasy events. You've just done Scottsdale. You've got San Diego coming up. You ever going to come to the UK?
Yeah. We absolutely are. We had hoped that we would have been doing it beforehand, but obviously COVID kind of threw a spanner in. We have been demanded to do Canada, the UK, and Australia. So we will, within the next 2 to 3 years, be doing a speakeasy in the UK. And for any of you that don't know what a speakeasy is, I never have more than 40 people there. It's a 2-day event. It costs $2,000. So, 1,500 quid. And we do 2 days where you don't know what you're going to learn or who you're going to meet. But I guarantee you, I'm going to get you uncomfortable. I'm going to get you more impactful, and I'm going to help you grow. We've been doing this for over 3 years now, and they've done really, really well. So I am looking forward to when we do the UK. So within the next 12 to 18 months, yes, there will be a London-based speakeasy.
Great. I'll keep an eye out for that then. Right. I know my time's up. Thank you very much again. It's been a really great chat. Is there anything you want to say for people who don't know you? Where should they look you up, Steve?
Well, they can join an Entrepreneur's Advantage with me, Steve Sims. That's a free Facebook group. If they want to have more conversations with me, more AMAs, more expert AMAs, join Sims Distillery, which is my inner circle. Or basically just go to Steve D. Sims, only one M.com. and that'll show you how you can find me on Instagram and videos and all these other different things, including when the next speakeasy will be.
Brilliant. That's great. Well, thanks again ever so much. I hope you have a great day, and you take care, and I'll see you on the next AMA.
See you soon, pal. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please subscribe and leave a positive review if you can spare a minute or two. If you would like to contact me, my email address is david@thereallifebuyer.co.uk, or find me at Real Life Buyer on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, where you're welcome to direct message me. I look forward to you joining me on future episodes. Take care, and remember, save money and buy smart.